Thanks again for joining me. Today I'm in Roscommon County, Michigan on some public land. If you're not familiar with Roscommon County, it's in the upper part of the lower peninsula. Again, I'm on public land, mixed forest, a lot of hardwoods, oaks, got some maples, got some popple, a little bit of pine mixed in, and I'm small game hunting. Primarily looking for squirrels, but partridge, woodcock, rabbits, they'll all work. I'm using the classic Remington 870. This is a 870 Wingmaster, got a real nice stock blued finish. It was actually my father-in-law's fairly old gun here. For shot, I'm just using the basic 2 3/4 inch number 6 shot game loads. They work good for everything all around. They do the job on squirrels. They work for partridge and woodcock and rabbits and everything else. And you might be able to see, I've already taken one squirrel. I'm not 75 yards from the vehicle. I saw this one about 40 yards in, and of course, he played the squirrel game with me, jumping from one tree down to the ground to the next tree, running along. But I finally just was patient, snuck up, and got a good shot. I'm going to try to get me a mess of these. And here in Michigan, you can take 5 squirrels per day, any combination of the gray squirrel, black squirrel, or the fox squirrel. I've already got a pretty good batch of them at home, and what I'm going to do is use them to make a squirrel chili for our annual pre-firearm deer season get-together with a bunch of my high school buddies. It's a good start for the day. Pretty chilly out here today, just barely over 30 degrees. I'm going to head back into the hills, and we'll see what happens. One thing I'm pretty particular about when I'm out here walking for squirrels is the pace that I walk at. This time of year, when there's ground cover, you can't see the squirrels, or in a lot of places you can't see the squirrels because of the ferns and the leaves that are still on the young trees and what have you. So my pace is pretty important. I want to walk fast enough to cover some ground, and I want to make a little noise, because what I want to do is I want them squirrels to come up off the ground and run up that tree a little ways to see what's coming. I found that 1.2 to 1.5 miles per hour is just about perfect this time of year. It allows me to cover ground. In a half a day I can cover 4 miles or so. I make just enough noise that the squirrels don't hear me coming 500 yards away. So I get close enough to where they're usually in range, or fairly close to being in range, when they run up the tree to see what's coming. In the winter, when all the ground cover's gone and you can see 200-300 yards in these big forests, I walk super slow, because if I can see them a couple hundred yards away, they can see me coming too. So I really creep in the winter. But this time of year, like I said, I don't want to go cruising through. I'm not in a hurry. If you walk too fast, 2.5 miles an hour, a good walking pace, they'll hear you coming a long way away. You'll never see them. I keep my GPS with me, and I generally don't use it for marking spots or finding my way in and out. I know the area up here. I've lived here my whole life. But what I do use it for is checking my speed. And to me, it's really important. So like I said, 1.2 to 1.5 miles per hour is just about perfect. Looks like somebody shot a deer somewhere around here recently. There's a lot of blood right there. I see it actually goes over that way. There's a mess of it right down there. And I haven't really looked good yet, but it's going right through there, one way or the other. And it's wet. I mean, that deer was shot in the last day or two. That's a whole lot of blood right there. By the looks of this blood trail, I would say that deer didn't go too far. And I would say it's probably going this direction, just because if you look at the leaf right there, the spatter on it is all going that way. I mean, it's just dumping out blood. I would expect to find a gut pile not far from here. Look at all the blood way up here. This is 3.5 feet up on this tree, and it goes all the way down. Almost looks like the deer leaned against this, but it probably just whacked into it. And I mean, there's blood all over down there. Yeah, just as I suspected, it didn't go far. There's the blood or the gut pile right there. What I like to do when I get to a spot like this, which is a spot I'm looking for, there's a nice mix of several kinds of trees, pine trees, popples, maples, but there's some really nice big oaks like this. There's probably 30, 40 of them right here. There's signs of squirrels all around where they've been digging under the leaves and just rutting out the acorns. You walk into an area like this, often the squirrels will run and hide real quick, but they seem to be impatient or have a short memory or whatever, and if you just hang out for 10 or 15 minutes, they'll get mobile again. If they're feeding at the time, they'll come right back down out of them trees and start feeding again. So I'll just hang out and watch. I've been walking through this old cut here, and you can see it's younger growth now, and they left a lot of older stuff standing, but I've just been walking this run through here, and there's been a couple, 2 or 3 nice buck rubs, and a lot. In fact, there's a little rub on a tree right here. Look there, that's a little one, but it's a rub, and there's a couple nice ones back there, and you look right here, there's a real nice scrape. Perfect, got the overhanging licking branch and everything. Freshly used. I mean, look at the tracks in there. Those are today's, no doubt. Well, I guess it's break time. I got about a mile and a half in so far. Picked myself a nice little vantage point here. I can see all around, and you can see it's just hardwoods, a little bit of pine out there, and I can see in just about every direction. So if any squirrels are down there on the ground, I should be able to see them. I'll just sit here and take a little break, enjoy my lunch. Anytime I'm going to be gone more than a couple hours, I take food with me. Just breaks up the monotony. Got a nice little half a peanut butter sandwich, some fig Newtons, and a nice chunk of applesauce loaf there. Nice little snack will give me energy to finish the day. I'll put in a couple more, 2.5, 3 miles yet. I got a mile and a half in. It's only a little after 2 o'clock, so I've got plenty of time left in the day. One of my personal favorite methods of squirrel hunting is to actually call. What I'll do is I'll call with a warning call you often hear. I call it a bark and growl, and I use it this time of year a lot because a lot of the undergrowth is still down there. The leaves haven't gone from the little bits of brush. The ferns are still standing in a lot of places, and so when them squirrels are on the ground, you just can't see them. And so what I'll do is I'll find a spot, and every couple 100 yards I'll do this, and I'll stop and I'll just do that call. I'll do that bark and growl, and what it does is them squirrels that are on the ground, they'll run up the tree and they'll go up maybe 5 feet, 10 feet, usually at the most, usually only about 5-6 feet, and they'll just run up the side of the tree and they'll hang there for a second so they can see what's around them, what might have been causing that call, causing that other squirrel to make that call. And basically it's just some barks and a growl. And you got to be watching, because all of a sudden they'll just up the side of that tree real quick. Sometimes they're only up there for 2 seconds and then they'll go right back down. At least it gives you the chance to see them. A lot of years, this time of year, you'll see them up in the trees feeding and on the ground because, some of the acorns have fallen, some of the acorns are still up in the trees. This year, about 3 weeks ago, we had 2 major windstorms back to back, and it pretty much dumped 100% of the acorns at once. They're just on the ground everywhere. So There's basically no feeding up in the trees. The squirrels are feeding on the ground. There's one way down there just sitting on a log. See if I can creep up there and keep an eye on him, get close enough to get a shot. Well, I think I got him. It's a nice one. It's a big one. Nice headshot. Well, time to call her quits. Just got back to my car, starting to drizzle. Seen a couple squirrels, got a couple squirrels. Couldn't really ask for any better day. I always like being out here, whether I shoot anything or not. That's really just a bonus for the day. So time to go home, take care of my squirrels, and we'll call it good. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.